Lollipop. 2015 will see Google have a crack at some entirely new platforms though, as well as some it has tried and failed to exploit in the past. Here's our list of what to expect from Google HQ in 2015. First up is Android M. Will it be called Android 5.1 or Android 6.0? Will Google go for a Maltesers tie-in or settle for Marzipan? Traditionally, new versions are shown off at the Google I/O Developer Conference, which in 2015 is to be held between the 24th and 26th of June. As Android 5.0 introduced a brand new UI style called Material, it seems likely that the next main version will focus on the feature set rather than the look. At first, Google Cardboard seemed like a joke. It's a cardboard VR headset into which you slot a Nexus 5 to get an Oculus Rift style experience on a shoestring budget. It seems highly likely that Google will release a more upscale headset frame in 2015, perhaps one designed for the Nexus 6, with its large 6-inch OLED display and the fast response times needed to eliminate motion sickness. It can't let Oculus Rift, Sony's Project Morpheus, or even Samsung's Gear VR have all the fun. 2015 is going to see Android being used in cars, courtesy of Android Auto. The system has already been shown off at the LA Auto Show, and it'll feature in the 2015 edition of the Hyundai Sonata, among other models. Rather like Apple's CarPlay, it hooks up with your Android phone and displays on the car's control panel. The main uses for it are pretty obvious: GPS and voice control. Volkswagen, Renault and Ford have all signed up, but don't get too excited as it'll likely command a premium for getting that big screen in the dashboard. Google Glass is the nerdcore show-off gadget of choice for many flush geeks, but soon it may be a lot more, well, normal looking. At present, Glass uses a chunky plastic prism onto which the glass's display is projected, giving that iconic Google Glass look, but getting smaller, neater and cheaper would be a natural progression. Google had a stab at Android on TV with Google TV years ago, and there have been loads of set-top boxes running some version or other of Android. However, in 2015, we'll see a renaissance because of Android TV, a platform unveiled at last year's I/O conference. The software is here, it uses Android 5.0 Lollipop at its core, but what we're waiting for is the hardware. At present, there is the Nexus player, but it's only available in selected territories. We want to see other manufacturers adopt Android TV to produce an even lower cost alternative to the Amazon Fire TV. Android TV is also planned to be built into sets from Sharp, Sony and Philips in 2015. Android 5.0L is the first version to offer native support for 64-bit processors. But what will they be good for? In theory, 64-bit CPUs will hugely increase their ability to process large amounts of data at once, but even Google's own Nexus 6 doesn't have one, so how the 64-bit revolution pans out in Android itself remains to be seen. One likely benefit is next-gen multitasking. Samsung has offered plenty of the stuff in its own custom Android interfaces, but we have a feeling Google may bake in more sophisticated multitasking in Android this year. Google managed to get the jump on Apple with its Android Wear smartwatches. By the time the Apple Watch is released, Android Wear devices will have been out for 6 months. But where will they go from here? We'll likely see tighter integration between watch and phone, increased app support and greater customization. HTC is going to release its first Android Wear watch in 2015, and the LG G Watch R2 is rumoured to be the first Wear watch to sport 4G, making it far less dependent on a phone. Across the board, however, battery life is still a huge problem. Android Silver. Is it dead or just waiting? For those not in the know, Android Silver is the long-rumoured series of high-end Android phones that use vanilla Android rather than a custom interface. It's like the Google Play editions we've already seen, but on a much larger scale. However, Silver has reportedly been put on hold after manufacturers simply weren't that interested in ditching their bespoke UIs. Back in May, it was reported that LG is to release one of the first Silver phones in 2015, but will it actually turn up? Google is working on kid-friendly versions of Chrome and YouTube designed for users of 12 years and under. We've seen a handful of tablets designed for kids before, but they've almost all been universally rubbish. Just budget tablets with some half-baked parental controls and lots of colourful plastic. These kid-friendly apps could well be the start of a move towards better kid-friendly tablets, with potentially much greater optimisation for young users built into Nexus devices. These are our 9 predictions for Google in 2015. Which do you think are most likely? Leave your suggestions in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more tech news, reviews and features.